Here it comes. Welcome back, everyone. We're in the after show. This is where the Sherpas discuss anything that they want to discuss. The portfolios, what was said during the review, anything that they want. Congratulations to Rick Schwartz on taking the title of Registered or Available today. Adam, you wanted to start off with some comments.
Yeah, I had some apologies for a few people. Apparently, I don't know what I was saying. Maybe I'm took too many meds or something. I don't know. But so the first thing is Michael Berkens does not drink and drive. I apologize.
He does not.
Close to that. I've never seen him drink. I don't even think I've seen. Oh, maybe at a party once in a while, but that's about it. And as for you, Michael, Mr. Seiger, I have no intentions on ever wanting to give you a facial. So I hope we're clear on that. I love you, but
you know, I am looking forward to meeting your wife when you come down for DN Seattle. That is going to be quite telling of the woman that marries Adam Dicker, and I look forward to that.
Before that happens, I'm going to have to blow her up with air on the way down on the plane.
I think we should all have a nice bottle of wine and watch Mr. Dicker give him a facial.
Dude, now you're going too far again.
I think I'll pass. I wasn't thinking of it that way, guys.
See, Adam, that's so far from Adam's regular mind. He was talking about his mobile day spa.
Yeah, it's not really that. I wasn't interested. Sorry.
All right. Economy. I think the economy, to Paige and Rick's point of view, I think the economy is improving. I agree fully with Rick when I see scaffolding up and cranes in the air, that I think that the city is spending money to invest, and they see, you know, things on an upward trajectory. Here in Seattle, we've had cranes in the air for years. Amazon is pretty much bought all of the real estate around South Lake Union, and they're just building after building. They just keep growing. And of course, we've got Microsoft and a few others that keep expanding. But, you know, I think it's going to be a good year, and it's going to be interesting with all the new TLDs coming out. Do you guys think that the domain name industry is going to grow by a factor, double, 1.5 times what it has been?
I think that the change in sentiment and the effect that it'll have on someone who's thought about buying, a premium quality domain to rebrand or re-energize or re-effort. You know, we've needed people to think about these decisions for years sometimes. You know, the idea that they're just going to wake up one day and say, oh, I want to buy this name and here's $100,000. You know, I think the people that have had the ideas, they look for things like, hey, we need sentiment to get a little bit better before we go out and take the risk and we try to do something new. And I think, you know, we've been so fear-based for the past 5 years. Everything's been protect, cut, that we may just see the first signs of growth. So I think when people shine their eyes at what can make a real difference, what can really give me some punch in my marketing, then I think you could see some real high, if they're disclosed, some high prices for big domain names.
Mike, Adam, you agree?
Well, yeah, but I also agree that, as usual, most of them will not be disclosed.
Yeah. Now, you disclosed your sale recently. It was a good sale, probably one of the best .NET sales of 2013. I don't know what the stats are. What'd you just sell?
Well, I mean, it was download.net.
And you sold it to the company that owns Softpedia?
Yeah. They're based in Romania.
Gotcha. And what do they do?
They run a shareware software site similar to download.com, CNET, and 2Cows, and things like that. It's a very large company. Cool. I think they said it was the 11th most popular site in Romania, which I don't know what that means. But
and you actually built out download.net recently.
I built it out about, sorry to cut you off, I built it out probably about 10 to 12 times. Every time it wasn't making money and it wasn't doing well, but the traffic always stayed the same. It was consistent traffic. It was very good traffic. And I bought the domain name back in the early 2000s or late 90s for couple $1,000s.
Off of eBay, right?
Yeah. It was when you could still get good domains off eBay instead of the junk that's there now.
Yeah. So building it out and getting the traffic, was that critical to selling it for six figures, do you think? Do you think if it was just a domain name parked that you would have gotten anything close to that value?
Yes. Yes, I do. I mean, I think it had no, in this case, it didn't have a lot of bearing because it suits the business that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good domain for them, and it has very good targeted traffic for what they're doing. So I don't think that the build-out that I had added any value in this case.
All right. Do you are you under NDA? Did they make you sign an NDA on the value? I know on your blog, theartofthename.com, it only said six figures.
Yeah, it was above six figures, and that's about all I could say.
Yeah. See, if people came to Traffic last fall, I believe on stage you said the price, or maybe it was Traffic the year before that you were talking about selling it. See, but people need to come to conferences. Things happen at conferences that don't happen.
All I can say is, what happens in Traffic stays in Traffic.
All right, Adam, you sent me an email. You forwarded me an email that came to you today. The subject was cyber squatters can register your trademark in minutes. And it started off saying last year more than 20,000 domain name disputes were recorded by the NAF at a cost of $1,500 per incident. But you today can protect your brand's reputation, revenue, and profits by blocking them, essentially. And so what you do is you go register your trademark in the Trademark Clearinghouse, you get your unique code, and then you buy the Donuts DPML. A one-time purchase protects your mark for up to 5 years, and it prevents Donuts from selling it to any other people who want to register it. Unlike, most people think that the Trademark Clearinghouse, if I pay my $2,000 and register my trademarks there, that it really does any good. But in my opinion, it has limited value because it only notifies somebody that there is a trademark, not that they can't register it. So what do you guys think?
What was the price of all that? Mike, what was the price to do that at Donuts?
I didn't even see it in the email, and I just copied and pasted it into my notes here. I think it's Mike Berkens. You know what the cost is, don't you?
It's around $3,000.
So
for the entire suite of domains that they'll wind up getting.
Yeah.
And then how much is the clearinghouse fee?
I think it's a couple grand.
Yeah, I don't think it's that high, actually. I don't think it's that high to file with the Trademark Clearinghouse. I think it's only...
And did they ever resolve the trademark plus 50 thing, Mike Berkens? Did they ever resolve the whole, is it going to be trademark plus 50 or just trademark? Did they ever figure that out?
It's trademark plus 50 if it's shown to be a brand that's been abused before. In other words, has some UDRPs against it, sort of like the Verizons of the world, or Legos, things that actually have a lot of UDRPs. If it's something that's never been an issue before, then you don't get the plus 50.
Where's this plus 50 initiated?
I mean, it was initiated by trademark holders sort of very late into the game, and just to give them some extra protection. And it's part of the one, it's a one trademark fee. So Verizon, they can carry 50 additional domains in addition to just Verizon, like Verizon Wireless, Verizon cell phones.
Right.
Anything that sort of shows to have been that they've had to defend an UDRP or federal court in the past. So having said that, when I was at ICANN, I did meet with the Trademark Clearinghouse people, and there were 28,000 domain names protected, which is I thought very light, actually, very small number. So, and if you do have a trademark, but you don't register with the Trademark Clearinghouse, then you don't have rights to get the name in Sunrise.
Yeah, so I was a bit surprised. I interviewed Jan Korstens, who's running one of the program leaders of the Trademark Clearinghouse, and he described it all. And I've got 8 trademarks, and I'm not going to buy any of them because it's a few $1,000s for me to protect something that I could probably file a UDRP for and be guaranteed of it. And I'm not sure if people are going to go out and register my trademarks. It's a tough call for small businesses.
Yeah, URS. You don't even have to file a UDRP for the new utilities.
Yeah.
$300.
But I think a lot of the registries might want a lot of the trademark terms to be premium names too. So to what extent are they really promoting the Sunrise? Because they may not want a lot of the premium names to go to trademark holders. So that's what I see happening right now is the registries, they don't want the trademark guys to cut corners by getting their name as a premium, and then they don't want the premium holders to cut corners by going and getting a trademark. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah. So, Mike, you mentioned that Donuts has pre-registrations opening today or yesterday, whatever the...
Yeah, they actually opened this afternoon, and they'll be announcing it tomorrow. I'm going to write about it tonight. So it's kind of, it's an interesting approach. I mean, Donuts was the group, if you recall, that said that they were only going to have a sunrise and then go right to general availability, that they weren't going to have the traditional land rush period. But they sort of do have a land rush period, but it's different than all previous land rush periods. So, I was just looking at, I guess, Rick's favorite, because he's written about it, which is .ventures. And, so if I'm looking on GoDaddy's site right now, I see that you can do a pre-registration for $69.99 a year. So that's sort of the normal, I guess, registration fee. Trademark owners, if again Sunrise, would be $229.99. But they don't have a land rush, but they have what they call a priority pre-registration, which is kind of like a land rush, which basically, if they have 5 different phases of priority pre-registration, and that would, of course, supersede a pre-registration. So phase 5, which is sort of the lowest phase, is at 200 and we'll just round it off, $220. Phase 4, which is your next highest phase, is at $720. Phase 3 is at $1,270. Phase 2 is at $3,200, and phase 1 is at $12,500 and change. And this, of course, is just for domain registration. It's necessarily, the best names theoretically might still be on the premium list or reserved, and therefore not available. So it's kind of, it's certainly interesting. So as it's been explained to me, if you go in for sort of a phase 5 at $220, then if somebody really wants the name more than you and goes to a phase 4 or 3 or 2, or goes all the way up to like a $12,500 registration, then they would wind up getting it if GoDaddy gets the name. And that's it's definitely a different play.
Yeah.
I mean,
so can you think
for a domain name?
Can you think of it as like the price is decreasing over time, and at some point somebody's going to say that's a good value, I'm going to pre-register it at that price?
I mean, I think I don't know.
It's like a reverse auction almost.
What's the best .ventures name? I guess would be, Rick's made the case that joint ventures. I guess so. Joint .ventures would be the only really name you like, right? Did you say that, Rick, in a post somewhere along the line?
I don't know if I did, but obviously that would be one of the best domains, and I certainly hope someone registers and does very well with it.
You don't like meet.singles?
Yeah. Meet.singles, I think that's reserved, so you couldn't even get it for the $12,000.
Oh, really? Why would? It's reserved by the registry.
Right. So, like joint ventures, for example, if you go try to pre-register it, it says it's already taken, which really means it's been reserved.
Yeah.
So you can't even get that for $12,000.
What about buy.land? Is that one taken by the registry?
I don't think .land isn't one of the names that are up yet.
Oh, okay.
Meet.singles is already taken too. So that's also you couldn't get for just the $12,000. I guess you'd have to pay more.
So people can go pay $12,000, $12,500 for .guru, .plumbing, .clothing, .bike, .singles, .ventures.
Yes.
But it doesn't guarantee you anything.
It doesn't guarantee you anything. It's all supposedly refundable, but you do have to lay out the money. So if you did do the $12,000 deal, it doesn't guarantee you that you'll get the name. It guarantees you that if GoDaddy is the registrar that gets the name, of course there'll be a lot of registrars taking these pre-registrations. So if GoDaddy does get the name and you're the only one who paid agreed to pay the $12,000 for it, then you would get the name. But if one and one caught the name, then you wouldn't get it, or any other registrar. So no, it doesn't guarantee you anything.
So Enom sent this out.
Yeah. And the point is if 2 or more people wind up, agreeing to pay whatever that is, the maximum amount. If it's phase 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, if that's the, whatever the highest rate is, if more than 2 people are in that category, then the name still goes to an auction in sort of the not land rush, if you will.
Okay, because Mike, Enam, the way they shared it with us was, for the resellers, was that basically the registry wouldn't open until 12:01 on land rush day, and then whatever registrar got that name, they would be dinged, the 11.5 or whatever, 12,000 for the name, and there was a sense that it was still just, open. It was an open registration. It's just the registry was going to price any registration done on that first day in the multiple thousands.
Correct. So that's January 30th is the day for the $12,569 dot ventures name, and then January 31, which is the day after, it's 3,100, and then February 1st. Every day it drops to where it gets to February 5th, and it's $219. And if nobody takes it in any of the first 5 phases of what they call priority pre-registration, which looks like a land rush to me, then you would go to somebody who has it on pre-registration at $70 a year, and if nobody has pre-registration on it, then I guess it becomes available on general availability for whatever that amount will be, which probably, I assume, less than the pre-registration amount.
But that isn't to say that the drop services won't also let you back order a name on day 3 of the priority pre-registration and go into a competitive auction if NameJet or SnapNames gets the name. And so you're going to have to, if you really want a name, you're going to have to give all these registrars $12,000 and have it back ordered. And good night. Good night.
Yeah, that just seems like a lot of work and a lot of... That's like more variables than filing for a top-level domain to begin with.
Well, it's scarcity-based for your pricing, and I just don't know if the scarcity is there to warrant it. But they're hoping as long as it's there for one person, then they'll get the money. So.
Right. But there's a lot of other new GTLDs that will have completely different pricing and availability, and then the market will decide what's palatable and not palatable.
Yeah. Rick, it seemed like you wanted to say something.
No, I'm just going to enjoy it. Sit back, enjoy the show, get the popcorn. It's going to be a lot of fun. What can you say? I mean, it's already starting. I mean, listen, there's a reason that I started writing about this stuff 18 months ago, because mostly I could have envisioned everything that's going to unfold, and the noise is just going to be over the top. People won't be able to get a word in edgewise. I mean, even Elliot today had a list of companies that are hiring. I mean, they're going to hire thousands of people. There's going to be a lot of things set out there where there's no way that the domainers are even going to be able to break through that noise soon. I mean, believe me, it's a human nature thing, and it's going to happen, and you start seeing it now. Now is when you start seeing it, and it will only build and build and build for at least the next 2 years until people get so overwhelmed. I'm telling you, that's why I say one guy marketing, because they're basically introducing them together. They're all linked to each other. One stumble by one. It's like a locomotive. If the middle train crashes, they're all in trouble. If the front one crashes, they're all in trouble. If the caboose crashes, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, who's visited New Zealand? By a show of hands. Just us two. Great country. So .kiwi just put up $7 million worth of premium domain names on the market in advance of the delegation of .kiwi. And I think that auction is going to start next week. Is that right, Mike? Do you know?
I don't know if there's an auction as much as there's just names for sale that have set prices on them.
Okay, so
they have sold names, by the way. So
what have they sold? Do you know?
I think some are listed on the site. I mean, I don't. I'm under NDA with everybody.
Sure.
So it's hard. Whatever's public's public, but they have sold names.
Yeah.
and stuff
So,
is selling. People are
is
even
Right of the
buying
Dot
these.
consulting for .kiwi?
No, I mean we have a right to sell some names for them, but still we're under NDA for everybody. So
Okay.
that's the way
So
it is.
hotels.kiwi is priced at 124,000 New Zealand dollars, which is about 100,000 US. Cruises.kiwi, clothes.kiwi, games.kiwi at 46,000 New Zealand dollars. Auto.kiwi. What do you guys think of the .kiwi top level domains besides Mike, who's under NDA?
I mean, it's not kind of an opinion. I just can't, divulge information.
What do you think of the .kiwi, Mike? Are you buying any?
I like .kiwi. I mean, I get it. It's I think I'm not from New Zealand. I know there's some sort of issue with people in New Zealand and the CCTLD and the operator thereof. So it makes sense. It's a little broader than just for businesses located in New Zealand. I think it'll do well. I mean, as an extension, as a business, I think they'll get a decent amount of registrations, and they're already selling premium names. So I think they'll do fine.
Anybody else? Paige? Adam?
I love the fruit.
The fruit is good. All right, Rick, are you saying something? I can't hear you.
Yeah, I had my mute.
Oh, okay.
Someone mentioned on my blog today, I'm not sure if it's accurate, that the population of New Zealand was 4.5 million. So if that is accurate, that just, I'm sure as a registry they'll do fine. It's just, again, as an investment, you're targeting 4.5 billion people total out of 7 billion. So it just depends how much you want to segregate that market. I mean, every time you add something, you segregate that audience until there's no one there or there's very few people there. And that's what happens with a lot of these domain names. So, like you say, the registries can do very well. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't translate to me being an investor and taking $100 grand out of my pocket. And as I described on my blog today, they have cruises.kiwi, and they want $83,000 for it. Well, I have cruises.mobi. I'm stuck with it. No one's offered me $83 for it, let alone $83,000. And I've had it for 6-7 years, I guess, whenever .mobi came out. So I've had it for a long time. And so here's an example of a top keyword .mobi. Mm-hmm. It's it's any GTLD. It doesn't matter what it is, but there's no value. And another thing, I had tickets and some other ones, 3 top keyword .mobis that I took $122,000 loss on. And to be honest with you, that was really targeting a much larger and broader audience, where it was one of the very first GTLDs to ever come out, when it had the stage all to itself without 999 other horses in that race. And, I just go down the list. I mean, where is the logic? I mean, there's got to be some kind of logic. 83,000, fine. I'll take 5,000. I'll take 10,000. Like I said, I haven't had an offer for $83.
Yeah.
And those domains that I mentioned that I took $122,000 loss on, I sold it at the end of the year for the taxes, and I sold them for $100 for 3 prime domain names .mobi. $122,000 loss, but at least I was able to recoup about $40,000 on the taxes. And everyone can dismiss about the taxes, but let me tell you, that's the only possible way I could have gotten anything for those domain names, was the $40,000 taxes. I mean, that's it. Mm-hmm. They did not have a $40,000 value. Believe me, when I bought them, I certainly wanted them to have more than a $40,000 value and more than the $122 that I paid. But that's why I talk about empirical evidence and all this blue sky bullshit that everyone's pushing. And they just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and you can't ignore it. Meanwhile, .mobi has 1.2 million registrations. Meanwhile, They are probably, I think they're the number 3 growing GTLD. Right now, today, they're growing at a 20% rate, which blows the doors off some of the other extensions. And I have that information from my blog on my Tuesday morning post, so it's there. And we have evidence. And then there's I don't mean to keep going, but they have that other sheet that came out that showed the chart of all the .com, the .info, the .mobis, and then they had other. And you know what? Until any of these guys break out of other, they have not much to talk about because they're meaningless. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you have to break through to critical mass, okay? So to do that, you at least have to get through other, okay? And since very few people out there in retail know, if you go to Main Street and you ask 100 people what they know about .mobi, everyone's going to give you, huh? Not one single person is going to know about it, and that's 6 and 7 years of promoting the damn thing. I mean, my God, I mean, when do you take reality and mix it with the blue sky and say, wait a second, maybe like Paige said last week, be careful out there. The chances are you're going to get hurt. I mean, I just don't know how to say it. You're going to hear the 4 or 5 success stories, which is like throwing a bone in front of an interstate and watching all the dogs run out to try to grab the bone, and they're all going to get run over because that's what they do. And you should learn from the history what goes on, so you be prepared because a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money, and none of the registries are going to lose. Very few of them. I mean, like I said, some are going to die on the vine. But anyone that has anything decent, they're going to be fine, but it doesn't mean that they're meaningful.
Yeah, it's hard to argue when you've got real data from .mobi, and .mobi is one of the top registries in terms of number of registrations. Yeah, what do you?
I don't think that's a fair comparison.
Why not?
Actually.
Why not?
Because again, the purpose of its purpose of .mobi was obviously for use of websites to look better on the mobile device, and then of course the iPhone came and the .com button, and that was sort of the end of .mobi. So, if you buy a .nyc, and then for some reason, in a year, if everybody leaves New York City, then yeah, you'd have sort of a dead extension. But I don't think you can compare, something that sort of has a backing of a city with millions of people, and businesses to a technology-based extension that got out technology, and the technology died almost immediately.
So why are they? So if that's the case, and I do agree with you, okay?
Yeah.
My point is, why are they registering so many domain names? Okay, if you look at the chart, I think they're like number 3. .info is losing registrations. Some of them are like a flat line. .com is going up 20%. A couple others are going up 20%, including .mobi. So there has to be a reason. And so until any of these guys have more registrations than .mobi or break out of other, it's meaningless. It really is. I mean, that's why I say this is not a race. Listen, if you go, like I said again,
.me has less. .me has less registrations.
I'm sorry?
Than .me has less registrations than .mobi. But it's much more valuable, so I don't know if they correlate in that way.
Well, only because they're valuable because they mean something.
Right.
Okay? And the reason that there's less is because they have less variables that may be able to go with .me, and .me is a younger GTLD than, or country, whatever it is. It hasn't been on the market quite as long. But they have been embraced by large corporations where .mobi has not. But .mobi has a stronger registration base. And we can't ignore it. Okay, so someone is buying these concocted domain names, okay? They are buying them.
Right. People will buy concocted terrible domain names, and that's why it's good to be a registry. But on the other hand, as a domain investor, you have to be very, very careful and choose very wisely. You just do. And I mean,
and you're right. And that's why there's not a gun to any of our heads to make a decision right now. The registries would like us to believe that there's a gun to our head to make a decision right now. But it's like going to the Kentucky Derby. You do not have to place your bet before the race. In this Derby, you get to sit there and you wait for all the horses to take off, and you can place your bet anywhere along the line, even including the finish line. And that's probably less of a risk because it's easier to overpay for something of value than to get a bargain on shit. And that's the bottom line of it. So I don't think we have enough information. Let the 1,000 horses come out of the gate, and let's see the ones that catch on fire. Some will catch on fire, maybe, and those are the ones to take a look at. And you know what? If you have to pay a little bit more, fine. But guess what? Just as you'll have to pay more for some, there'll be guys that are desperate, and at the end of the year, they got a mortgage to pay, and they're going to have to get rid of their premium domain name, so there's going to be plenty of opportunity should that happen. So you don't have to be the first one in line to the movie theater, and anyone that's camping out, I don't think it's the best strategy with 1,000 horses in the race that you really can't examine all until they actually get out of the gate. That's just my opinion.
Especially when some names might be cost you as much as $12,000 to register.
Yeah.
Well, that's absolutely. So again, if that unproven domain of my counterpart is worth 83,000, why is mine worthless? Okay, you have to answer the question. You know, there has to be a reason why it's basically worthless. And even if it had another extension, the chances are that the value would be very limited because it isn't $83,000 and people would be flopping all day long doing it.
Yeah. I just wish I could buy a .horse right now, but it's taken.
You can.
You can
Not
buy
too late.
Dead.horse. Dead.horse. That's what you can buy. Dead spelling.
Maybe you can. Maybe.
I like my voice is .horse. Anyway, before we sign off, Mike, I got a picture of my wife, the one woman who can put up with me for my whole life, so here it is.
Yep. How many of
She's
us
gotta
had
be Wonder
crushes
Woman.
on Linda Carter?
No, she's got to be Wonder Woman.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Anything else before we sign off for the day?
Nope.
Ready to go?
All right.
It's going to be. Listen, it's just going to be a great time going forward because there's going to be more action in this industry than anyone could ever imagine. And hey, whatever happens, no one really knows, and we can all speculate, and that's what's great about investing is it's all about speculation and bullshit and trying to figure it out and trying to figure it out first. And like I say, that's why you start thinking about this a long time before right now. But from what I've learned, it's better, I think, to wait. Be careful out there, right, Paige?
There you go. I think the registries, you got to look at the registries like the airlines. They're trying to get the most amount of money for every seat on their plane. So it's yield management and yield-based pricing. And they're saying, how can we, and all we need is one person to get each name. So then you got to sit there and maybe bob and weave, and like Mike Berkens said, learn the rules, learn the stuff, find your opportunity, make some measured bets, and in my feeling is try to be away from the crowd. So if the crowd is waiting for day 4, either go in early for exactly what you can make a business out of, to borrow Adam Dicker's things, and get it from the registry and get it now because you probably can. Mm-hmm. Or, try to game it a little bit on the back end and get something that only you know about, and just be careful about, letting him front run on what you know about. So there's ways to do it, but, second place right now is probably to do nothing. It's going to be hard to be a winner. It's going to be easier to be a loser, and doing nothing kind of guarantees you second place right now, and that's not a bad place to be.
All right, we're going to leave it on that. Thank you, gentlemen, for all your thoughts on the after show today. Have a great week, and we will see you all next week.
Thank you very much.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.